Okay, guys, I think I pretty much figured out why they use HARP as an atmospheric heater in other places like IceCat in Europe. There's an effect that they discovered about 80 years ago in radio. They called it the Luxembourg effect. And I'll just describe it briefly for you. The phenomenon was discovered in 1933 by B.D.H. Tellegen in Eindhoven, Netherlands, who was listening to a station in Barrow-Munster, Switzerland on 652 kilohertz. In the background of the Swiss signal, he could hear the audio of Radio Luxembourg. Okay, so like if I just go on this map here, he was in the Netherlands, and he was listening down here to a Switzerland radio station, and he could pick up Luxembourg radio. Now, these two radio stations are at different frequencies, so he was really just tuning into the Swiss frequency, but he was also picking up Luxembourg. Okay, so he couldn't, it was a phenomenon they couldn't understand because Luxembourg radio was on a different frequency. Tellegen noted that the 3 points were in a straight line. When the signal from the Swiss station made its way to the Netherlands, it passed directly over Luxembourg. He correctly theorized that the carrier of the Swiss station signal was being modulated in the ionosphere as it passed through the strong signal of Radio Luxembourg in the ionosphere. The ionosphere had only recently been discovered and was not totally understood. It was previously supported that the ionosphere was a linear medium through which radio waves passively reflected. But the existence of the Luxembourg effect showed that the ionosphere could be artificially heated to produce non-linear effects. Okay. What he picked up was cracks. Okay. If you understand my cosmology, we're in the concave Earth, and there's a glass sky above us at 100 kilometers, and the bottom edge of that glass, or the bottom portion, the underside of the glass, there's a mantle of ice. Okay. So there are cracks, there are fissures in the glass or the ice or both. So when we see auroral activity and we see these hard lines, the auroras, the plasma of the auroras are running along the cracks of the glass or the ice. Okay, some of these images I think are CG, like from NASA and stuff, but most of them are not. So these fissure lines, these cracks, they're showing, it's evidence that this is a hard surface for one, and that there are cracks in it for two. Now, the whole reason I think HARP and other atmospheric heaters, like IceCat and other places, are used because they are concerned about megacriometeors. They're concerned about this ice mantle breaking off and falling. I believe Tunguska was a huge megacriometeor event. If you watch my previous videos, you understand that megacriometeors are the source. The glass sky is the source for the megacriometeors. There's no other place where they can be coming from. Can't be just formulating in the stratosphere or the troposphere. They're coming from the top of the glass sky at 100 kilometers high, which has fissures in it, which has cracks in it. So, you know, ionospheric heaters, the whole reason I believe they are heating up the ionosphere at certain areas in the ionosphere is to fuse these cracks. Let's say they are made out of ice, okay, on the underside. If they apply heat to that region, that will fuse those cracks together and actually prevent the ice blocks from falling. In addition to how I mentioned before, how they spray the skies to prevent the heat from rising. So you kind of have like a, you know, you're heating the sky and you're also preventing the heat from rising as well. You're heating the sky in certain areas. You're heating the ionosphere in certain areas to fuse the cracks to prevent the ice from falling. And then you're also spraying the skies with the chemicals, the chemtrails, the strontium, the barium, the aluminum, to prevent the heat from rising, the anthropogenic heat from rising. So you have had like a dual effect here. They perform experiments with it. They say, we have built a setup allowing for an instructive experimental demonstration of the acoustic Luxembourg-Gorky effect, scroll down there, in the form of the cross-modulation of two longitudinal modes in a glass rod containing 3 corrugated thermally produced cracks. So they're replicating this whole process right here in this diagram here. They got these little cracks here in this glass rod, and they're finding out that it's getting the same effect as the Luxembourg-Gorky effect. So the glass sky with the ice on the underside has cracks in it. That's why we're seeing those striations in the auroras, because they're just running along those cracks. And they're concerned, I believe, that these cracks, at the edges of these cracks, the ice can crack off and fall down to the ground. And so they're trying to fuse the cracks. You know, they're just kind of apply heat to fuse the cracks and make sure the ice doesn't fall. They're not going to tell you that. It's kind of like the Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth scenario, but that is why. So the Luxembourg-Gorky effect is solid proof that there is a glass sky above us. It cannot happen in just if there's just like a field of plasma above. No, there's a hard, tangible surface, ceiling to the sky. It's transparent. It's glass and ice. Okay, this is something they will keep from you, but this is something that I have revealed to you. You're in the concave spherical Earth. The ionospheric heaters are meant to fuse the cracks to prevent the ice from falling. You understand? So this is something you're not going to hear from any chemtrail activist or any other person who has no understanding that we're living in the concave Earth. There's a glass sky. This proves it, guys. The Luxembourg-Gorky effect. Talk to you later.